This is KGW News at noon.
Oregon's new gun control law is still on hold after a decision today from Oregon's Supreme Court. Hello, I'm Brenda Braxton. The state asked the justices to let Measure 114 go into effect right away, but they declined. A Harney County judge put the law on hold, questioning its constitutionality. Among other things, Measure 114 requires a permit to buy a gun and limits magazine capacity. Despite today's ruling, this is far from the end of this legal fight. While the Supreme Court decided to stay out of the case for now, it could weigh in on future challenges. Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum put out a statement saying she was disappointed by the decision. She wrote, "My office takes the position the law passed by Oregonians last November is totally proper and legal under the U.S. and Oregon constitutions." Now to controversy surrounding the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. Governor Kotek is asking several members to resign after they were accused of ethics violations. The OLCC regulates marijuana and alcohol, which is Oregon's third largest moneymaker. The Oregonian reports the executives and managers involved asked that high-end bourbon be set aside for their personal use. An internal investigation found it happened often and involved the commission's former executive director, Steve Marks. Here's a statement from Governor Kotek. She called the behavior unacceptable and said it won't be tolerated. She's also asking the Attorney General to investigate. Have you gotten a letter like this in the mail saying your tax bill is overdue? Well, you're not alone. Almost 20,000 Oregonians haven't paid up, but a KGW investigation found it's not their fault. Cindy Turner is one of those folks who are caught right there in the middle. She says she was blindsided when the city of Portland sent her a letter saying she had failed to pay. Turns out the city was collecting on behalf of Metro. High-income households in Washington, Multnomah, and Clackamas counties were expected to pay this new voter-approved tax for homeless services. Cindy said she supports the tax, but she had no idea the bill was overdue. She had no idea because nobody told her how, when, or how much to pay. And to make matters worse, the city of Portland threatened to tack on penalties and interest, again for a tax she didn't even know was due last April.
It's just frustrating because I feel like there should have been a little bit more communication and a little bit more understanding the first time out that really taxpayers had no idea that this was happening.
And it's not just Metro's newly created homeless services tax. Thousands of people also owe the preschool for all tax in Multnomah County. Our investigative team has more on that. You can watch their full story on our website, kgw.com. Well, this is the last month people will get extra emergency food benefits. Oregon officials say it affects more than 400,000 households. The federal government approved this extra money in April of 2020 to help families during the height of the pandemic. Officials are hoping people plan ahead and call 211 if they need help finding more support. And a quick heads up if you're planning a trip to the coast soon. There's a sneaker wave warning. It extends from the Oregon coast up to the Long Beach Peninsula, and it will be in effect tomorrow and Saturday. Well, we are seeing some blue sky at the coast today and some hazy sunshine here in Portland. Ron, it's a nice day.
Yeah, it's a really nice day. And real quick, Brenda, a footnote to that sneaker wave warning that you mentioned for tomorrow and Saturday. That's particularly dangerous because the weather itself is going to be pretty quiet. The marine forecast calls for typical rollers coming in, swells from the west, 14 feet high on Friday, 10 feet on Saturday, which is kind of normal. So my point is, you might not be thinking about beach danger and really paying attention, but you'll need to. Okay, we do have Cannon Beach Live. Absolutely gorgeous weather. 54 degrees. The temperature is sweet as the view, as they say. Here's Mount Hood. Looks like a lenticular, a cap cloud right over the summit. Right there, kind of hunkered down, the sunshine up top. Temperatures will be in the 40s at pass level today over the mountains. Here's Stoller Family Vineyards Estate. Most of our cameras showing some clouds, but a lot of sunny blue. And in fact, this view over the West Hills from downtown, perfectly clear. Look at the number. That's current. 53 degrees right now. Thought about raising the high. I have it at 56. We'll leave it at 56. We'll probably be 55 at 1 o'clock. 56 maybe in that 2 o'clock hour. If anything, will be warmer than that. And don't forget, if you have plans this evening, 8 o'clock, it still looks like we could actually have showers come in. You wouldn't know it by how sunny it is right now, but that is in your evening forecast. Brenda?
All right. Thank you, Rod. Well, it's the start of a new chapter in Northeast Portland's Cully neighborhood. A crime-ridden strip club has transformed into something the community wanted. KGW's Catherine Cook takes us there.
On the corner of Northeast Cully and Killingsworth, you'll find another kind of crossroads.
It is a gorgeous, gorgeous building, I believe so.
A place where life struggles intersect with a chance at safe, stable housing.
That is part of what the system, does in this community. It never lets you get up.
Ernesto Fonseca is CEO of Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They build affordable housing all over the Portland metro area. This is their newest project, which opened in December. It's called Las Adelitas. More on that in a minute. It features 140 units, a courtyard where kids can play, and resources to help those who live here.
I would say that the most significant change that families feel is peace. And when you have that, that in your life, you can start moving forward with the school, with work, with finding employment, you name it.
They hope to have the building rented out by late spring.
Just excited to get to know my neighbors.
Michelle Hornbeck moved here in December. Many of her neighbors are refugees and immigrants. Michelle's path here included homelessness and housing where she wasn't safe.
It makes my heart feel warm for people to feel that they can come here and be safe.
What's now an important part of this community sits on property that used to house the biggest strip club in Oregon. It's a history organizers here don't shy away from. Instead, they use it as a reminder of why the future is so important. The Sugar Shack, as it was called, was for decades a magnet for crime. In 2017, the former owner was convicted on federal charges of tax evasion and running a prostitution ring. With millions in donations from community partners, Hacienda CDC bought the property, which sits right across from their headquarters. The day they took sledgehammers to the old strip club was a day they celebrated.
We're trying to rebuild and empower the people that were affected by many of these, activities in the past.
For that reason, Fonseca chose the name Las Adelitas, a name born from Adela Velarde. She was a force during the Mexican Revolution. Recognizing the men needed help, she took up arms and led other women to do the same. Those women became known as Las Adelitas.
Such a powerful, story to me. So from a place of abuse to a place of empowerment and rebirth. That's what it is. That's what Las Adelitas is all about.
From this crossroads in Northeast Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.